Hello, and welcome to Double Feature, the review show where I am going to talk about two movies, or maybe a movie and a mini-series, or something of the sort, that I've watched during the last week, maybe last 3 weeks in this instance, as I was also watching the House of Cards trilogy from the 1990s. That is House of Cards from the UK, not the American version, which obviously ended in a very dissatisfactory manner. Well, shit, what's the other thing I'm reviewing? I'm reviewing High School Musical. Yes, that is correct. The 2006 Disney Channel classic, I want to say. It boggles the mind how these two entities could exist together on a review show. But let me tell you, it's fairly easy. I still have a DVD rental store close to where I live, and from there I rent on a regular basis 2 movies, or once again, maybe a mini-series and a movie, and then I watch them. And that's how I ended up deciding to watch High School Musical and the final cut, the last 4 episodes of the House of Cards trilogy. High School Musical first. High School Musical is the absolutely mediocre tale of 2 teenagers portrayed by some people in their 20s falling in love in a high school where there are musicals. Okay, that's kind of it in essence. Some people describe it as being sort of a Romeo and Juliet-esque story, but let me just be quite frank here. Obviously, none of the two die at the end, although that would be kind of funny. And the story isn't all that deep. They initially meet at a ski resort during the New Year's celebration, and then they meet up at a high school to which the young girl has been transferred to. And she's a scientist, he's a skater. No, he's not a skater boy. He's a basketball player. And they hit it off then with songs that accompany the whole thing. And because they're from 2 completely different worlds, as if to say they're from the same high school, from the same economic class, and basically, they are pretty good fucking fit, beside the point that, one of them is into basketball and the other one is into the sciences. But both of them share a passion for singing. And that's the main crux of everything. Both of their camps, respectively, argue that, they should just stick to what they know and something status quo, yada, yada, yada. It's not that inspiring, at least not if you're an adult. If you're a kid, maybe. And that's how, when I first saw the movie, when I was like 10 years old, back in, 2006-ish. Yeah, it's also when the movie came out. I saw it as it was broadcast in my country. And, I remember that I liked it quite a bit. It carried with it some expectations towards what I thought was going to be my teenage years, which then turned out to be completely fucking different, because being a teenager kind of sucks unless you have the best of luck. But the average teenager is going to suffer for one reason or another, and that's okay. So back in the day, I think I would have given this movie probably like a 7 to an 8 out of 10. But then again, what did I know about movies? Nowadays, I recognize that there's a very harmless, fluffy type of musical movie. Although it's still better than fucking Grease. Fucking Grease with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John sucks ass. That's just a little diatribe that I'm going to go on right here and right now. Grease has characters that I don't fucking like. I hate every one of them. And 2 songs which are good. Obviously, that's Summer Nights and The One That I Want. And the story is kind of all over the place and doesn't really know how to fucking focus. And the ending comes out of fucking nowhere and doesn't make any sense. Cool. Grease. John Travolta has given a good performance, I guess. And the songs are catchy, but other than that, 3.5 out of 10. Go fuck yourself, Grease. Anyhow, High School Musical is a 5.5 out of 10 because honestly, it knows how to stick to its guns and is a lot more focused than what Grease felt like. Also, the characters, although they're stereotypes, feel a lot more fucking likable than these dickweeds in Grease. Seriously, fuck Grease. Not the country. Speaking of Greece, though, we're off to talk about the House of Cards trilogy starring Ian Richardson. And what a treasure of an actor that man is. Ian Richardson gives a incredibly, disturbingly awesome performance. One of the most hateable characters I've ever seen on television. Back since I've seen fucking Breaking Bad, like he really gives Walter White a run for his money. His performance of Francis Urquhart is absolutely just polarizing. No, it's not polarizing. That would be it doesn't divide people. People are pretty much on point when I would rather I am pretty much on point when I say this dude is despicable. He's just absolutely abhorrent. He's an awful person. And throughout the 12 episodes of the House of Cards trilogy, you learn to really hate him. Initially, he might seem like a bit of an underdog, which is fine, but by the time we enter the second miniseries, the To Play a King, you realize that he truly 100% is just awful. And sure, the end of the first miniseries, the actual House of Cards, should have told you that, he's not to be trusted. Because, spoilers ahead, not quite yet. I'm going to give you a rating first, then you can wank off or whatever, because I don't want to spoil you, because actually, in all honesty, just watch the fucking House of Cards trilogy already. It's fucking great, and it gives you an amazing ending, as opposed to the American House of Cards series, which kind of ended with a dud, due to Kevin Spacey being replaced with another character, but that's Kevin Spacey's fault. For diddling kids, last time I checked. I think that was it, right? Yeah, he diddled kids. And, that ends the spoiler-free segment of my House of Cards review. And let's get into the spoilers. House of Cards is fucking awesome. In the first 4 episodes that comprise the actual House of Cards miniseries, we get Francis Urquhart manipulating his way into the position of being the Prime Minister. In his little journey to the PM's position, he preposterously disposes of 2 individuals. One is a young reporter with whom he also has a sexual affair. The woman in question has a daddy thing going on, which Francis Urquhart manipulates or uses to his advantage. Though, truth be told, it seems quite obvious that he himself also has a thing for being the daddy in that relationship. By the way, daddy is also the last thing that the young reporter says as she's falling to her death after Francis Urquhart has shoved her off a rooftop. The other fella's name kind of escapes me, the one whom he kills via putting rat poison in his cocaine. I could have sworn I still had it in the back of my mind. Doesn't matter, though. He is a colleague of his own political party, which is to say the Tories. He's a conservative, Francis Urquhart. And because he also knows too much, that colleague of his, he disposes of him with rat poison in his cocaine. And that's how the first series ends. Then we get To Play the King, which means that, it can have a double meaning, obviously, to be the king, to impersonate the king, to try and fill that role, which, Francis Urquhart to a degree also does. But more importantly, he manipulates the king, and he plays him so well that in the end, the king has to resign at the end of the second series. The second series is also situated in the midst of quite a few IRA bombings, as if for those of you who don't remember, the Irish something state, the Irish people tried to regain, I think, all of their lands or something like that. It had something to do with the fact that Ireland is still divided. And from the 60s, I believe, or maybe it was earlier, up until the early 2000s, there were quite a few bombings perpetuated by Irish individuals in order to, force the UK to finally allow a reunification of Ireland, meaning Northern Ireland and Ireland. And that's just the backdrop to the second series, because it is also being used by Francis Urquhart to blame 2 car bombings that he orchestrated in order to get rid of 2 people who might have some dirt on him. He blames those on the IRA. And yeah, that's how the second one ends. Also, just as a side note, the second one starts with the death of Queen Elizabeth, which should give you a bit of a hint as to how exactly the series deals with real life politics, as if in to say it alters them quite a bit. Case in point, the third series, in which Francis Urquhart is still Prime Minister, and this time around, Maggie Thatcher has died. In theory, the third series takes place in like 2001, I believe. 2001, 2, 3 or something. The point is that he is about to reach Margaret Thatcher's record of longest days in office as a prime minister. But at the same time, around this time when, Margaret Thatcher dies, he also attempts to keep his legacy afloat, so to speak. He tries his best to not have it be besmudged by any political mishaps. He escalates a military crisis on Cyprus, which then causes a scandal, which obviously threatens to yet again fuck up his legacy. And in order to save his legacy, his wife comes up with the crazy and absolutely brilliant idea of having him assassinated in public to make him a martyr. And that's how the third series ends, with Francis Urquhart getting assassinated by his wife. It's a surprise to him as well, but, it's a good surprise in a matter of speaking, because obviously now his legacy is secured. And by now you should kind of, have figured out that this whole trilogy is a very dark, humid, very satirical take on politics, and it truly isn't all that nice, for lack of better words. It gets dark very easily and very quickly. And I loved it. Specifically because of Ian Richardson and his great performance as Francis Urquhart. The motherfucker just knows how to choose scenery. And him being a Shakespearean actor obviously helped his cause to bring alive this performance and then to play this Machiavellian villain that you learn to despise like fuck by the end of the trilogy, specifically due to the military mishap that he had put into place, so to speak, at the end of the last episode, or during the last episode. And 9 out of fucking 10 for the House of Cards trilogy. Watch that shit. It's highly recommended. Anyhow, next time we'll be taking a look at 2 movies. Not another miniseries and another movie. 2 movies, both are from the 80s. Wait, are both from the 80s? I believe very strongly they are. One of them is a horror movie and a science fiction movie as well, starring Patrick Stewart amongst other individuals whom might have slipped my mind right now. But the other one is a dance movie with a very, very, very famous soundtrack. And you could say that one of the people in one of those movies, well, she's a maniac. But, you know what? Don't let that deter you. You still got quite a bit of life force in you. Well, that was some subtle foreshadowing, wasn't it?